And firstly, what I wanted to start off with, but I didn't really wanted to start off with this. I actually wanted to get into the GNU, but I figured no, let me get into the more localized news, which is about the SABC and Multichoice. Now, there have been rumors about this thing and this whole, I think it was the Competition Commission and, of course, ICASA, meaning the Independent Communication Authority of South Africa, looking into this whole so-called merger, which had already been started apparently more than 10 years ago. We're looking around 2013, 2014, that there were certain assets that were supposed to head over from SABC to the Multichoice. Now, I released that prophecy, which was speaking about the fact that all the Multichoice decoders and everything will pretty much stop working, and that'll be if you are short paying or stopped paying altogether your SABC TV license. And until you pay over your TV license, it means that you will not be enjoying your DSTV or your Multichoice subscription anymore. So your DSTV will be sort of shut off and broken by transmission. And then following that, there was a subsequent dream which I had, and that was the initial just vision. That was years ago, actually. I can't remember exactly when I had that. I think it was around 2019, 2018. Anyway, the record of it is on my blog, as you all know, and of course, if you follow my YouTube channel. But essentially, if you are not really just up to date in terms of your payments, forget everything. But subsequently to that was the dream that I had about the SABC radio park now becoming Multichoices. So that was not only the TV side of it that I wanted to lament, it was also about the radio component and the terrestrial radio in that instance. So the SABC long, and I'm talking about mid-90s, 1995 or something. So we're only like about a year or so deep into the whole democracy thing. And there were talks already that SABC wanted to digitalize and all that. And it was something that was sort of abandoned. And it looks like they resurrected it or resuscitated it. And then it was all supposed to be on the back end of Multichoice. Now, ICASA, meaning the Independent Communication Authority, once again, was the one that actually helped Multichoice and DSTV pretty much enjoy a huge monopoly in South Africa. And of course, there was always that payback, which is something that I always explain. And now we're seeing that both of them are pretty much in tough times, as far as SABC is completely bankrupt. Multichoice has been said they're technically insolvent. And now, if you understand the company's law as far as South Africa, is that a merger cannot happen between two struggling entities, meaning that you cannot have a company that is struggling themselves having to acquire another one. So what's bringing this whole merger about and everything? Recent rumors, and something I already covered, was the French communication provider or telecoms provider, or is it? I think they're also a TV network, and everyone who's pretty much living in a francophone country in Africa will know who I'm talking about, and that is Canal Plus. So Canal Plus, they are pretty much in talks with Multichoice as far as taking them out. So what we're going to see is that it's going to be this 3-part thing, because they need a liquid financial hub in order to facilitate the payments that are supposed to be involved, in order to make it easy for SABC to actually, make it easier, for SABC to be acquired, as well as Multichoice in this instance. So Multichoice essentially are turned into Canal Plus for their cash injection. So that is in short. And not to complicate everything, of course, I do believe there's some certain fraud in it, so to speak, that pretty much makes it more of a hostile takeover, which I do believe that looks like it's on the cards, meaning that it's not going to be an expensive acquisition. Pretty much things are so pretty, what's the word I was actually looking for, where it was pretty much obfuscated through crooked accounting and also misrepresentation there of assets, and this whole credit and debt loop, and of course embezzlement of funds, especially when you look at the whole public institution that is being the SABC. That'll be something that's quite synonymous with that and something that has always been happening. But yeah, we need to be on the lookout on that one and watch the developments there, because SABC and MultiChoice are going to become one. And if you owe TV licenses, they're coming for your DSTV. But they've also threatened to say that they're going to take away your Netflix and all of those internet streamers. But how are they going to get around that one? Because that's a whole legislation, and that's something that's going to have to go through Parliament in order to be passed as law, and to put in your internet connection along with your TV, and we're talking terrestrial TV, and of course your digital satellite TV as one lumping is virtually impossible, because you're pretty much cutting out people's telephone networks at the same time, which doesn't make sense, and of course is completely obsolete, because that's the nature of technological development, that when one technology sort of fails, how do you stop something? That's a bit ridiculous, because yeah, it's like maybe it's a bad analogy, but I cannot be saying that, okay, just because now somebody is a bit bitter that they had all these LPs, meaning vinyls, outstanding and nobody plays them, meaning that I must now come for people's CD players at their house, and nobody even uses CDs anymore, and you stop playing MP3s on your phone. But those cell phones, and of course your album at the time of production, wasn't exactly taken into account that CDs in years' time, or LPs I should say in years' time, are going to be phased out. So it's a bit ridiculous to come for new technology just to compensate for financial loss of the fact that, obsolete technology and pretty much being out of date. Really, really stupid. But anyway, I'm sorry to hop on too much about that. Let me move on to the next topic of debate.